Laurel didn't hesitate when the listing popped up. An old farmhouse tucked into a sleepy rural town, surrounded by misty fields and silent woods. She needed an escape from the choking crush of city life, and this house, with its creaky charm and acres of solitude, seemed perfect. The town of Orrel was small, almost evasively so. There were no signs greeting newcomers, no welcome centers, just a scatter of tired shops and staring eyes. The realtor, an older woman with a hand like dry paper, had warned, some places just need to be left alone. But Laurel laughed it off, leading the moving van through gravel roads choked with lupins and fog. It was only after the first week, when the laughter started, that she began to question her choice. It appeared after dusk, faint as a whispered threat. Initially, it was easy to dismiss. The laughter seemed to drift in from the fields, thin and childlike, as though filtered through memory or dream. Maybe the wind was catching on some rusted piece of old machinery. But one morning she found small footprints in the soft earth just outside her bedroom window, leading nowhere. They were gone by midday, as though swallowed by the grass. Laurel ventured into town to ask around but found that no one seemed comfortable speaking beyond politeness. The grocer, a narrow man with thick glasses, simply nodded when she mentioned the laughter and changed the subject. She pressed once more, firmer, and got only a muttered, "Best not to pay attention." It didn't help that the rooms inside the house felt subtly wrong. The angles in the hallway seemed to shift, ever so slightly, as though nothing in the house could agree on where it belonged. The attic door creaked open on its own during rainstorms, revealing an untouched, dust-drowned trunk in the corner that she hadn't seen before. The trunk was locked, but one night, in a bout of restless anger at the subtle tension of the house, she pried it open with a crowbar. Inside were scraps of children's drawings, charcoal scribbles of tall shadows, weeping skies, and a house that looked too much like her own. At the bottom of the pile was an old cassette recorder, the batteries corroded but somehow still working when she pressed play. There was only laughter, the same laughter. Laurel took the recorder into town, hoping for answers. She played it for the librarian, a gray-eyed woman who looked as though she hadn't slept in years. Midway through the recording, the librarian went still and turned pale. She told Laurel never to bring something like that into the town again, then shut the library early and vanished behind the blackout blinds. Laurel left the recorder in the car, where it played again that night, even after she turned it off. She woke at 2 a.m., the laughter bubbling up from the gravel driveway like something was mimicking the cassette. But no one was there, just cold wind and her own breath. Days passed. The house seemed to exhale a little more darkness each time the sun went down. Lights flickered, but not in the usual on-off pattern. They would strobe in sequences that Laurel started to feel might be deliberate. In Morse? A message, perhaps? Her nerves frayed under the weight of presence, a watching, listening force that curled in at the edges of her sanity. One night, the laughter crawled up through the floorboards. There was something pacing beneath the bedroom, in the crawl space she hadn't dared open since moving in. Each step was slow, deliberate, childlike. The next morning, the cellar door was ajar. She had never opened it. She finally pushed herself to descend. The cellar was damp, the walls lined with stone and the scent of rotting wood. There were items down there that didn't belong to her. A torn teddy bear, several sets of small shoes arranged neatly in a corner, and a child's desk etched with names that had all been scratched out violently. When she touched the desk, images filled her mind, flashes like static, of children speaking to shadows that had no form, of silence being demanded as worship. She blacked out briefly, collapsing against the icy floor. When she came to, there was something written in dust across the steps. "We live where sound grows." She started researching the house's history and unearthed one slim article shoved deep in the microfiche archives of the county records. It referenced a religious group from the 1930s, only ever referred to in local whispers as the quieting. The group believed that silence could open unseen doors to what they called the reversal, where children could become vessels for the forgotten. The farmhouse had served as their final meeting place before a mysterious fire left most of the group presumed dead. But there was no record of graves. No record of children ever being taken from the grounds. Only one diary entry remained from a neighbor. They laugh now, but they don't breathe. Laurel packed her things. She locked every door, burned the children's drawings, and left the recorder beside the well behind the house. As she drove away, shadows moved behind the curtain in the attic window, parting ever so slightly as though watching her go. She didn't stop in town. She didn't speak to anyone. She bought a motel room 2 states over and laid on the bed, finally at peace. That night, the motel TV turned on by itself. No picture, just sound. And through the static came the unmistakable sound of laughter, soft and close, and beneath it, a voice she had never heard before saying, "But you already live here too, Laurel. You just forgot how to listen."